Hi, my name is Mike Tusaw. I'm a financial advisor from St. Charles Wealth Management. Today, we are going to discuss exercise and assignments with options, something that everyone who trades options needs to know. So, regardless of what level of a trader you are, the information that we're going to present today is important to know. If you have a good understanding of what happens at expiration, it'll help save you a lot of headaches in the future. Now, the points to ponder for today: we're going to go over just the basic definition of exercise and assignment. We'll go over American versus European style options. We'll talk about the actual process of what happens at expiration. And in the end, we'll talk about pin risk. That's very important to understand. First off, what does it mean to actually exercise an option? Well, what that means is that a person who owns a call or a put exercises their option to buy or sell a stock at a specific price. For example, if XYZ stock is trading at $40 a share and I own the 30 call, I'm going to exercise my option to buy the stock at 30, even though it's trading at 40 on the open market. On the flip side, let's say that I own the 30 put and the stock's trading at 20. I'm going to exercise my option to sell my stock at 30, even though it's trading only at 20. You can do that at any time, either from the time you buy the option up until expiration. Typically, it's done at expiration. Now, the flip side to this is option assignment. Let's say that you sold an option. That's when you're short an option and the long option holder decides to exercise their option. So, for example, let's say you sold the 30 put and that stock is at 20. The option holder can exercise their option and you're buying at 30, even though it's only at 20. Of course, the same thing can be said for a call. If the stock is at 40 and you sold the 30 call, what's going to happen is that you're going to sell the stock at 30, even though it's trading at 40 on the open market. Now, of course, a covered call can mitigate that, and there's ways with which you can have various option spreads to protect this risk, but understand that's what it means. Now, this is all done randomly, meaning that the Options Clearing Corporation decides who gets assigned based upon exercise orders. It's a random thing that they do. American versus European style options. With an American style option, you can exercise it at any time between the time that you buy it and expiration. Now, all US stocks and ETFs are American style options. I mention this because there are European style options. These are typically done with index options. What that means is that you can only have an option exercised that's European style at expiration. So there's a difference between the two of them. The S&P index is one example of a European style option, but make sure that you have an understanding of whether your option is American style or European style before trading it. Now, how does this process actually work at expiration? Let's discuss the long call. If you own a call option and it is 1 penny or greater in the money at expiration, then it's going to be automatically exercised. That's the rules of the Options Clearing Corporation. So if you have that call option and you do not want to own the stock, you just want to let it go, then you need to call your broker and let them know that you don't want it exercised. Now, as a long put, the opposite would be true. Let's say that your long put is 1 penny in the money at expiration. Then what's going to happen is you're going to be selling that stock automatically at expiration should you take no action. It's automatically exercised at expiration unless you tell your broker otherwise. Now, with a short call, let's say that you sold a call option. That means that at expiration, if it's 1 penny or more in the money, you don't know what's going to happen. Now, why don't you know? Because you're not the one that's on the long side of it. The person on the other side of the trade that is long the call may have called their broker and said, I don't want to exercise this. Or it could even be out of the money, and the person on the other side of the trade could have exercised their option. It's very rare, and in 20 years, I actually have seen it once, and I've heard of it as well, but it does happen. So understand that if you're short a call option at expiration, you need to be prepared to sell that stock at the price that you agreed to do so, which is the strike price. A short put option. Same thing would hold true there. You have the risk of being put the stock. You might end up owning the stock if you are short the put. If it's a penny or if it's close to wherever it is, you have to have that understanding. Now, pin risk, what is that? Pin risk means that if the stock is kind of at the money or pretty close at expiration, you could end up owning or selling that stock. Now, why is this a thing? Well, let's say that you own a call option, for example, and you're thinking, okay, limited risk. I bought this $100, I paid $100 for this call on this $50 stock. So instead of paying $5,000 for 100 shares, I just paid $100 to own the call. It's going to expire right at the money. I'm good. I don't care. So I lost $100. Big deal. Here's the problem. If that stock is at 50.01, let's say, at expiration, then all of a sudden you're going to own that stock because it's going to be automatically exercised. You didn't take any action to call your broker and say you didn't want to own it. Then over the weekend, that stock crashes. And let's just say it goes bankrupt. Let's be really doom and gloom here. If it goes bankrupt, then all of a sudden you lost $5,000 on the stock that you didn't want to own in the first place. Make sure that you have an understanding of what pin risk actually is. Now, this can also hold true if, let's say that you're short a put option and it's right at the money at expiration, and then you end up owning the stock and you don't have enough money to own the stock because you either had a spread, you were leveraging yourself, whatever the case may be. And you're thinking, oh, okay, I got a winning trade. This will expire worthless. No, the person decided to assign you those shares. Stock goes down significantly over the weekend. You're in a bad spot now. Same can be the same can hold true for long call, long put, short call, short put. There's some type of a scenario that something bad can happen. Moral of the story is that you don't want to go into expiration unless you know for sure that you want to get exercise, that you want to exercise the option or get assigned. So for example, let's say that I sold a covered call on a stock I own and it's in the money. I'm okay getting called away. Let's rinse and repeat, and I'll sell another covered call or another short put the next month. Big deal. I got the money. I'm happy for it. Or you sold a put because you want to get into the stock and you want to own the stock, then by all means, what you can do is you can let it get assigned. That's fine. But if you're levered or you do not want to own the stock or sell the stock, it's highly recommended that you get out of the short option or the long option for that matter before expiration, because all of those scary things that I mentioned can't hurt you if you close the option position, whether it's buying to close or selling to close, depending on your situation. Last but not least, call your broker if you're slightly in the money call or put you don't want exercised. You don't want to exercise it because of the fact that you don't want to have one of those scenarios that you exercise your option that you didn't want to own the stock or sell the stock and something bad happens over the weekend. That can lead to disaster. Most brokers don't have a do not exercise button on the screen. So in fact, I don't know of any who do. So you need to call them up and tell them, I don't want this option exercised. And if they won't take your phone call or you can't do that, get another broker because your broker stinks if they don't give you that feature. If you learned something important from this video, please subscribe. That's a way with which we can get our content out to more people. Also, if you want to work with a financial advisor who does use the option product, feel free to reach out to me. You can do so by either checking out my website or following me on Twitter, stcharleswealth.com or @MikeTusaw. Thank you and have a wonderful day.